Namaste, Jai Bharat. Perhaps no nation in the world must have suffered such distorted, mutilated, and disturbed history as the historiographers of Bharat had done to the history of Bharat. It's really very appalling. Appalling means absolutely appalling. See, the kind of history which get taught to the students of Bharat are absolutely destroyed and mutilated, because that time those who were responsible for creating a history, we don't have the tradition of writing history and keeping in Bharat per se, though it is there now. But why these people forgot that the history of Bharat, they are written on hard granite in the temple walls. That source alone would have sufficed to make a genuine history of the Bharat. But what happened is that those who came after 1947, those history writers, historiographers, it's called historiographers, they were bent upon glorifying the Mughals. I wonder, this had been very nefarious act and deed at the hands of the left liberal Islamist historians. Left liberal Islamist historians. They just want to destroy the history of Bharat, which is indestructible as a matter of fact. But they tried. At least for whatever short period they may be successful, they have done that. Now you look at the instance, they call Alexander the Great, fine. There's some reason for doing that. They started calling Akbar the Great. It took long time for the history to call Shivaji the Great. That's much later. It's Akbar the Great they call. And look at the kind of inspiration they have drawn from the Hindu kings. See, there was a great empire, the Vijayanagara Empire of the south. And there were great kings like Krishna Deva Raya, and he had great ministers like Sainacharya, and also great members in the court like Tenali Rama. So the narrative between Krishna Deva Raya and Tenali Rama has been very popular, and the whole story they have copied. They copied it as a story and created a different narrative as happening between Akbar and Birbal. And that got promoted more, that got reached more. And the original story of Krishna Deva Raya and Tenali Rama got confined into the south of Bharat. In the entire northern belt, they got this Akbar Birbal story spread, and people thought that is correct and that is true. Children were made to think that something was really the case. That had been happening for a long time. We knew it for quite some time. But suddenly, the person who is not a historian, but he speaks of history, he comes with the YouTubes, and he was talking about the Mughal kings. He has nothing else to speak about Mughal kings, and he was emotionally narrating about the Mughal kings and the days of Akbar, the days of Aurangzeb, sometimes the last days of etc. So there suddenly he made an expression which shocked me. He says, in the Akbar's Navaratnas, must see, he says, in Akbar's Darbar there were Navaratnas. Now, Navaratna is the history that you find with Chandragupta Vikramaditya of Ujjain. He had 9 jewels in his court. Vikramaditya was a scholar, great scholar, who would be able to appreciate the 10 wise people, Dhanvantari, Chapniga, Shanku, Vedalabhatta, Khadagarpara, all these Amarasimha, all these names are there. There were 9 scholars in his court. And these 9 scholars are called Ratnas, means diamonds. They are called as 9 diamonds in Chandragupta Vikramaditya's court. And he was ruling from Ujjaini, the great place where the Mahakali temple is situated. Mahakala temple is Kala means time. the time concept, instead of Greenwich mean line, the, we have calculated ancient Bharatiya longitude latitude calculation were based on that point of Ujjain. So it is called as Mahakala, Kalgana, and the time concept and the space calibration of Earth. So there were 9 great scholars in his darbar, in his court, and he was very famous. That was very famous. Vikramaditya's court had 9 scholars who were called as 9 diamonds. So Navaratnas. Now this person who was narrating about Akbar was telling Birbal was a member of the Navaratnas in Akbar's court. Look at the narrative which is happening even today. Stealing, copying. Copying is too good a word. I would say stealing. Stealing is a right expression. Stealing stories from great kings and applying it to the Mughal to make the Mughal kings glorious, to create a glorious story of Mughals. And you tell this like an authority to people, and the children will believe it. Create such history. This had been happening to this nation. This had been happening to our history. This kind of history was created and taught to our children who were under the impression that the Mughals were great. They were great in every aspect, they were called, but they were great in no aspect, as a matter of fact. Our children were taught the Mughals were great in all kinds of, all fields. But in fact, they were nothing. They used the skills of others, of course, and put their name. And Hindus never used to put their names in any kind of creation. You see, no one has written their names on any kind of our creations. And in our books and texts, you do not find people writing the name of others. They never bothered to write their name. They go beyond their names. And whenever we know that this text or this sutra is written by so and so Maharshi, that's because someone else has chosen his name, saying this thing, Vatsyayana Sutra. It because somebody else has referred to it, or someone has written a glossary to that, and which we know. Then only we come to know who has authored this original text. Otherwise, normally they themselves never used to write their names because they go beyond their own names. They transcend their names and they transcend their kind of so-called personal identities. But look at these Mughals. They claim spurious. They make claim for everything. They say they built this, they built that, they built that. The list is going to be long, really lengthy. Actually, they did nothing. They have brought no scholarship with them, absolutely no scholarship. And since they were not scholars, they were not very lettered people. Their court did not have such scholars, obviously. Did not have such scholars. Akbar, the Great, whom people call as Akbar the Great, did not even know how to read and write, and that part nobody tells. He didn't know how to read and write. Forget your scholarship. We compare him Akbar with Harsha, scholar who wrote. He wrote Prahasanas. Bhakta Vilasa Prahasana is a name written by Harsha. So these kind of glorifications, these kind of narratives and stories spuriously put in the textbooks and taught to our children by these fetishized historiographers, and they mutilated our history. It will take long time to get the Bharatiya history detoxified from these kind of narratives which these people have created. It's nowhere, I think in no other nation had to face this kind of a challenge from within. Look at the things, how unfortunate it is. Leave alone, we Hindus don't glorify themselves, don't say that we are this, we are that. But many others do. So it takes time to get this detoxified. It's only very recently that some little efforts were being taken, and I'm personally known to this research history characters. Many of our friends are desperate that how history has been destroyed. It's very unfortunate. Our children should be conscious about it, and we are of course working towards detoxifying history, but it takes time. it tastes. We shall meet again with some other thought till now. Till then, Namaste. Jai Bharat and Jai Sri Ram.